Hey guys, Netherking here, and welcome to a game called Rimworld. So, this is a part of that stuff that I was saying in the update where I said I was going to play some of my newer games, and here is one of them. Now, if you want to see more games that are different from what I usually play, or if you want to suggest games, go ahead and do that. The email is in the description. Also, there's a couple other things that I'm looking for in the description as well. So if you have any ideas or any suggestions, go ahead and email them, or just leave a comment. Comments help too. So, we're going to go ahead and jump in. Now, I would play the tutorial, but I've already done a few colonies, and this game is good. It's a long game, but it's nice to just kind of sit back and simulate a colony. So, without much further ado, now, I want to give big props to Tynan Sylvester and the rest of the team, and definitely the soundtrack too. Like, this game is good, it's detailed, it's got beautiful music. So you just gotta understand that credit goes where credit is due. Ludian Studios, you guys did something really great with Rimworld. So, we're gonna go ahead and make a new colony. Now, Crash Landed is the classic Rimworld experience. This is the one that you get if you do the tutorial. You can actually continue through the tutorial after it's done, and you get to keep your survivors and keep continuing on. You get to pick a storyteller in the options menu, and you can keep continuing with your tutorial. Now, one that I kind of like doing is the Rich Explorer, because it's just one person. So for a while, until you can recruit more people, or until someone just joins your colony randomly, because that actually does happen, at least the last couple times I've done it, there's just one person. It's a lot easier to take care of the needs of just one person rather than three right away. So, there's also that, and there's the Lost Tribe. Now, I haven't done this one yet. If you guys want me to keep doing Rimworld, I can do this at a later time, but you have 5 people instead. Now, as you can see, the start with is always different. And Crash Landed actually has scattered bits on the map. So, there is a bit of differences between each of the modes, but I'm going to do the Rich Explorer. So, people called you crazy for leaving your glitter world home, but you always yearned to explore the stars. Outside the Neuro Simulator, now you're at the end of your long journey in crypto sleep, which is what they call it instead of cryo sleep, landing on an unknown Rimworld to see what it's like. So basically, you're someone that came from a really rich place, but you want to see what it's like to have hardships, to just be the person that has to survive on a Rimworld rather than having all these exorbitant things, you know? So, your faction will be a new arrivals. You will start with one person. Rimworld guys, I don't know if you could fix that. Start with one person, maybe? Sorry, I'm a little bit of a grammar kind of person. You start with the research gun turrets already done, which means you also start with the microelectronics research already done, which is very helpful. You start with 2,000 silver, 30 gold, 40 survival meals. Now, they eat pretty much the same as a normal person, 3 meals a day. 40 glitter world medicine. Now, this is the best medicine in the game. I'm pretty sure it's only available through traders. You can make normal medicine later, or you can grow herbal medicine if you have enough growing skill to grow a plant called Healroot. I'll get into that in a little bit. You start with 30 components, which is very handy. Components are something that you get them like 2 at a time from mining on the map, or you can go take apart ship parts and things like that. You get a charge rifle, which is actually a really decent gun. A random pet, so your person comes with their pet. So whoever it is has their pet that they've bonded with over the years. You get 450 steel and 300 wood. So, one wealthy person going out into the world. So, you get to choose from 3 different storytellers, and this actually changes how your game plays. So, for instance, Cassandra Classic, She creates story events on a steady increasing curve of challenge and tension. So basically, she's the basic storyline, you know. It starts off, oh, it's really easy and just keeps going, and it starts snowballing and getting harder and harder and harder. And that's how she goes. Phoebe Chillax gives lots of time between events, but at high difficulties, she is as hard as anyone else. So you get more time between events, but this is a good and a bad thing, because you also get more time between good events too. So it's not the best, but she can be a much easier one if you want it to be really easy. And Randy Random is just like his name says. He doesn't follow rules, he'll generate random events, and he doesn't care if they make a story of triumph or utter hopelessness, it's all drama to him. So you can see the whole theatrical smiley face, frowny face thing. The events that you get from him are random. So you could have like 3 good events in a row, and then 1 disastrous bad event. Like, he just makes random events. No idea. You don't know what's coming next. It's just something's going to happen. So I'm actually going to go with Cassandra Classic because, you know, good event, bad event, good event, bad event, kind of. Or maybe Phoebe. I do enjoy playing with the Phoebe narrator, but the only problem is that, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It's also time between good events as well. So there's a lot of downtime when you play Phoebe. So I'm going to go with Cassandra, and I'm going to put it on some challenge. So this is for players on their first game, or casual players who still want a challenge. So some challenge isn't going to, like, completely ruin you, but it's going to make it feel a bit more... balanced isn't exactly the word, but it's going to make it feel a bit more realistic. So, some challenge. Extreme, I don't know why you would. Intense, again, I don't know why you would. Rough is a little bit worse than some challenge. And, of course, peaceful is really... is like peaceful mode on Minecraft. I mean, there are still enemies, but it's not, like, nothing to worry about. Base Builder is less challenge than some challenge, but more than peaceful. So, yeah, this is pretty much the normal difficulty. So we'll go next. And if you notice down here, there was a thing that said permadeath mode. We're not going to do that. So, we're going to put in the nether. Because why not? Now, this says how much of the planet they generate. So, it's a round planet, but depending on how much is generated is how much you have to choose from where you start. So, I always generate about 50, which does take a little bit longer, but that's fine. I'm going to leave the temperature and rainfall at normal. We're going to go ahead and generate. So, yeah, this game is all about picking a spot and building a colony. And eventually you can go all the way through the technologies into a... well, you can research all the way up to building a spaceship to get your people off the Rimworld. So, that makes it kind of interesting that it can get there. But if you stay on the Rimworld too long, it's more likely that something bad might happen. But bad things happen. They just do. Alright, so, this is the world. It used to be a flat square picture, and you can just pick from an area. But now, it is an entire globe. So, let's see. This is temperate forest, which is always nice to be in. Let's see if we can find one with a year-round growing period, because that always makes it easier. Maybe I'm not at the right spot on the planet, so let's go up here a bit. Smuggler's Municipality, huh? 30 days. 30 days. We gotta find somewhere that's year-round. Somewhere really nice. There's the year-round. Okay, so we've got year-round temperate forest down here. Now, you could go tropical rainforest, but this makes it a lot harder. There's a lot more diseases and things. That just makes it harder all around. You could go arid shrubland, but that's kind of like a desert, and that makes it harder too. I really don't want to be too close to Kangaroo's Town with the Claymore Men and Donkey Cave. So let's see if we can find something. Well, being near those just means that those will be the people who will be like in raids and things. But the closer you are to them, I think the more frequent the raids are. Ah, here we go. So if we go right up here, right next to Elegance's Cave, and the Black Yokanra, I think, and Rayo, we can go right about here, and we'll have limestone, slate, and granite. It's a flat terrain. Maybe we'll find like a slightly hilly one. Large hills, large hills. Yeah, let's go with this large hills one. Slate, limestone, and granite. Perfect. Alright, now this is where it's going to generate a character. There is a randomize button, but I'm just going to go with whoever it gives me. Alright, it gave me Sky Lorne, who has the characteristics of an orphan, which means that she has +4 construction and +4 mining, which is actually really useful in the starting bit. Let's see, she's steadfast, so she doesn't break under pressure. She's got a green thumb, so she has a +2 in growing. But she's a nudist. She's a nudist at age 16. But her actual age is 28. So yeah, that's alright. I think that'll be fine. So, go ahead and... Hey guys, we're back. Unfortunately, the game had a bit of a meltdown, and so we actually have a different character. I managed to find the exact same starting place because I made the seed the exact same, but we have a different character, and there's actually a pause button here, so I will go over her characteristics here in a second. But let's just read this out. So, the neurosimulations, holo games, and free orgies were never enough for you. You wanted more. The grit and consequence of real life. Like they talk about in the history books. You wanted to know what real challenge and consequence feel like. Now, after a journey of decades in crypto sleep, you're landing on this unknown Rimworld. Real consequences await you. So we're going to go ahead and pause it. So, this is NG. And... actually, NG hasn't landed yet. Sorry. There she is. Okay. So this is NG. Her real name is Amelia Flace. She's called NG because her adulthood was a combat engineer. So, she's actually incapable of nothing. If you saw our previous person, Sky, was actually incapable of art, which NG pretty much is too. She's psychically sensitive, so any, like, psychic things are going to drive her insane 40% more. Well, not drive her insane, it might be something good. She's very neurotic, which means that she has a better global work speed, but also a worse mental break threshold. But she's also lazy, which means she has a worse global work speed. So I'm not sure how these two mix. But it ends out giving her a +20 work speed. +20%. So that's actually really good. In her childhood, she was a foundry apprentice, so she gets +1 melee, +3 construction, -2 art, and +3 crafting. So her construction and her crafting are massive, and she was a combat engineer in her adulthood, so she has +5 shooting, which means her shooting is off the charts. +2 more construction, and +3 crafting. So she's got a 10, a 10, and a 9. And these little flames right next to it means that she is interested. So she learns at 100% rate instead of the ones that she's not interested, which are a 33% rate. So basically, there's a system of passion in this. If people are passionate about doing something, then they get experience for it much faster by doing it. And they also get a joy boost. So, joy is one of the meters that you have to watch. It does go down after a while, but they do things that raise it back up. So, that's alright. Mood is the big one. So you see these bars here? Those are minor break threshold, which hers is higher. All of her break thresholds are higher because of her one neurotic. So if she gets to 49%, she's at risk of a minor break, 34% for risk of a major break, and 19% for risk of a extreme break. So what those are is she might have a breakdown. Which, depending on what the breakdown is, it might make her feel better afterwards, but it depends on what the break is. So her gear, she's got all her normal stuff. We're going to have her pick up the rifle, which I think she's actually standing on. She is. So we're going to unforbid that. We're going to tell her to equip it. And her shooting is really good, so that's fine. We just have to unforbid all this stuff. Now, if you double click on something, of course it selects all of that you can see, and it tells you how much it is and what it is. The hotkey for forbidding and unforbidding is F. So if you see that these things have an X, and you press F and the X goes away, that means that they can now carry it. Which you need to be able to do to, like, set up a storage area or anything so that they can carry these. You need to go around and you need to make sure that it is all unforbidden. Select all this wood. This is something that you should do right at the start because they won't even carry it to projects. They won't even use it in projects if it's forbidden. So let's see. I kind of want to see what this big structure is, but I have a feeling that it might be something bad. So we're going to say deconstruct this wall. And we're going to prioritize on that and see what happens. Now, it'll pop up a little message if she thinks that it's going to be something bad. Ancient danger. Okay, so she thinks that that's going to be something bad. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. And I'm going to repause. And you know what? Let's make a room right here. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is you go to Architect, and you go to Structure, and then you have Walls. So you can tell it to be something else, or if you just leave it, it'll be wood. So we're going to go ahead, and we're going to one line, the other line, and then we're going to put a door here. So, and you need to have floors. Now, you might not want to have floors at first, but the thing is that if they're not if they're in an ugly environment, what they consider ugly, then they're going to have a negative mood effect. So we're just going to go ahead and put the wood floor in there. The wood floor does not give a positive or a minus, but it does make it so that you aren't... It makes it neutral. It means that it's not giving a negative from being just dirt. And we're also going to go to furniture and make a bed, because they will complain if they don't have a bed. So we'll give them a bed, and you can right click if you have like the cancel thing out or whatever. You can right click to cancel that, and then you can press escape to put away the architect list, and you can use WASD to move the camera. So we're going to go ahead and unpause, and she's going to start building. So we're going to go down to the work tab, and she is actually listed for everything. But if you click on this manual priorities, you can actually set some things to be higher than others. So for instance, I could tell her to, if there's any fire near, I want you to do that above everything else. or things like that. But I'm just going to leave it on automatic priorities for now. And this is just going to be a little area. Now, I am going to extend the area a bit by going to orders and mine, and I'm going to tell her to break this gravel here, or this granite here. Well, slate. It's usually granite in the wall, but I guess this time it's slate. So, when she's done with her constructing, she's going to go ahead and mine that. Now, she will just go grab meals. If she's hungry, she will grab a meal, she will eat it, which is another very important thing. You want to give them a table. You want to give them a table, and you want to give them either a chair or a stool. So, stools are actually cheaper. I didn't find this out until I was playing for a while. Stools are actually cheaper, and they're cheaper by quite a lot, actually. A dining chair is 60 wood, you can see over here. A dining chair is 60 wood, whereas a stool is only 15, and they use a stool just like a chair. So, and they don't complain about it either. We do have Shamrock, who is NG's cat. So, she brought her cat along. That was the one random pet that we got. We got a cat, which doesn't have any trainable intelligence, unfortunately. So, we're going to go ahead and, in furniture, we're going to put an animal sleeping box at the end of the bed. Because that'll work for small animals. Now, I figured this out. It doesn't actually work for larger dogs. So if you end up with like a Yorkie or whatever, that's fine. If you end up with a Labrador, you need to make one of these animal beds or designate an animal sleeping spot. The animals won't really get a poor mood because they just have food and rest. But it's just kind of a nice thing to do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our little room here. I think eventually we will tackle this and see what's actually in there. But for now, we're just going to make our own space. And I'm going to go ahead and put down a torch lamp after she's done making all this other stuff. Now, since her construction is so high, that's why she's building this so quickly. If her construction was lower, it actually would have taken longer to do this. So that is a good thing. And yeah, it says need colonist beds over here. This is where it'll give you like little tips and stuff. There is the learning helper up here, but that's just if you come across something that you haven't already told it, okay, yeah, I know this. You can, it'll like say, oh, well, to make a bed, go into furniture and click bed. Or stuff like that up there. It's basically like a tutorial box when you're just playing the game. But there are actually little things here that it'll tell you about, like minor break risk or raid or whatever when it happens. So it's telling me right now that I need colonist beds, which I do, but she's already going to build it anyway, so that's not really a main thing. Are you... You are out of wood somehow. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and give a chop wood order for the trees. I don't know how you're already out of wood. I didn't have you use that much. Huh. Well then. Yep, she's apparently already out of wood. So, if we can have you come down here and prioritize cutting the tree. Which is 93% grown. That should give quite a bit of wood. And for manual priorities, we're going to have her on plant cut 2. That way it's a little bit more important. Because otherwise she would have run off and just been doing the mining again. Because it actually puts mining ahead of plant cut. But it puts growing up here, which plant cut also includes harvesting. So I'm not sure why it does that. Where did she go? Oh, she's eating a meal. That's fine. So I'll ever cut down a couple of oak trees. If you zoom in close enough, you can actually see how much is in a stack without needing to click on it. So that is kind of nice. And you can also see their names and stuff. So like 10 meals, 10 meals, 10 meals, 9 meals, because she just took one. Alright, I think she's got enough of that. So we're going to go ahead and put that back on 3. So now she's doing constructing, because that's higher than everything else for her tasks that she needs to do right now. And this is probably going to be a 2-part first episode, because I noticed that it's going on for quite a bit. Either that, yeah, because it'll be in 2 parts, because it takes a long time to edit one really large episode. So we'll just go ahead and get the house situated, and I think that'll probably be the end of part 1. Now what I can do is I can actually make the mining a lower priority by making it a 4. So that way she does all the other stuff before the mining. She'll cut the wood, and she'll go and she'll put it in the house plant. Now that's what I like about having the manual priorities. You can tell people who are, say, they're good at medicine, so you give them Doctor 1. They're always the doctor, kind of thing. Now this doesn't mean that like if I put Doctor 1 on her, there's no one to take care of right now, so she wouldn't just stand around going, oh, what do I do? She'll actually go and do her other tasks in the order that you've numbered them. Unless you're on automatic priorities, in which they go in the order of where they're at. Lower priority back here, higher priority up here. Just a bit of that nice music in the background. Now, you see here that the bed actually says unowned. That will change. When she actually sleeps in it, it'll change to her bed. Oh, we should harvest this bush too. That'll give her some berries to eat. Besides just those. So with the steel and components, we can actually make some power stuff already. So we'll go ahead. It says that we don't have enough because these numbers are red. We just don't have enough in a storage. So we do have enough right here. It's just not in a designated stockpile zone. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a solar panel here. And I'm going to run a bit of conduit and stick a battery there. And see, now she's going over to grab some steel for it. So she's currently carrying 75. Man, she's strong.
I've had other colonists that couldn't even lift 10.
No. They usually can lift quite a bit. I think that their carrying capacity says how much they can lift. So how to get to this is you just click the eye right here. It gives you it says information about this object. But whatever you have selected, it shows all their stats. So she's comfortable at a minimum temperature of 6 degrees and a maximum temperature of 89 degrees. So a couple of things that I like building, especially because it started me off in spring. So at some point I'm going to need to build, construction failed. That can happen. It just happens every now and again. The higher their construction level, the less that will happen. So that was actually somewhat of a rare chance. But as I was saying, there's actually like some clothes and stuff that'll either give them higher resistance to cold or higher resistance to heat, etc. So that's actually handy too. Now it is coming up on night, but I need her to finish... I actually need her to finish this wall, which... Oh, she's working on the battery right now. And the battery is done. I would like it so much if you would cut this tree, because if I don't finish that wall, it considers this the outdoors, and then she gets a negative mood for, you know, sleeping outside. Because you wouldn't want to sleep outside, would you? So her mood is actually... She has low expectations because the place is poverty-stricken. She can't expect any comfort. She needs to keep herself strong. Yeah. New colony optimism, which is a good thing. For no apparent reason, she just feels good. It's probably from all of the crafting, or all the construction, because she is actually getting extra joy from doing stuff that she likes. Can you prioritize finishing the wall, please? I don't know why she ate without a table. That's kind of her own fault. She just ate over here instead of taking it to the table. I guess probably because she didn't count it. And let's go ahead and have her make a torch lamp as well. Now this won't, like, burn down the house or anything, so... Yes, I disturbed your sleep. So she gets a little... because I disturbed her sleep. But we're going to go ahead and get that in darkness thing away. She's been in the dark for a while and she doesn't like it. But now she's not in the dark. So now that's gone. So yeah, you want to definitely look at the mood of your colonists. They'll pretty much do the rest of the stuff themselves, besides probably beauty. So beauty is how a room looks. After a while, your rooms will actually get dirty. Like, if you see, I can right-click here and prioritize cleaning dirt. And it'll say down here in the corner, it says just general about what tile you're pointing at. So, like, here it says solar generator, or here it says wooden table, short, because I made a short wooden table. But here it says dirt ×2. So that's kind of the thing. They're just sitting there sleeping. You can actually speed up time as well. So... I can go 3 times speed. And if you watch, the hours will just tick over. Now, these aren't like real life hours or anything. This is in-game time. So, we're just going to tick over into the next day. And it auto-saves on each day, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, just as NG is opening the door to see the morning. And that is the end of part 1. In part 2, I will probably cover joy sources, food, storage, that kind of thing. So, go ahead and make sure to check the description, because it's got some very useful things down there. And until the next part, I will see you next time, Netherians.